And one of these is
heretical ideas, ironically.
Yeah, radical ideas. But my attitude towards this is that hear people out. That's what academia should be about, no matter how peculiar an idea may sound upon first reading. Then hear people out. So what is this idea then that can I go live? No, it's not letting me do that. Oh, for goodness sake. Sorry, entropy's messing me around. You can send them into entropy, though. That's the point. Anyway, so you have this idea about Bolshevik influence, Hitler as and so forth. So can you people that know nothing about your books and haven't read them at all, can you explain what your thesis is with regard to Hitler?
With regard to Hitler, Hitler began his political career in Bavaria working for the soldier councils under Kurt Eisner, who conducted a socialist revolution against the Bavarian monarchy, overthrew Bavaria, wanted to pit North Germany and South Germany against one another to ultimately produce a conflict in which the Soviet Union would take over Germany. So Hitler was very much a socialist, aligned with the radical Jew Kurt Eisner. Kurt Eisner was assassinated by a fellow Jew who tried to get into the Tula Society but could not because he was Jewish. Hitler attended that funeral, marched in the funeral parade, bearing a socialist armband that was red and a black armband to mourn Kurt Eisner. Eventually, Eugen Leviné took over from Eisner through Ernst Tuller and other communists and established the Bavarian Soviet Republic. Adolf Hitler worked as a communist propagandist for the Bavarian Soviet Republic. When that fell, he notably did not participate with the Freikorps to overthrow the Bavarian Soviet Republic, but instead was captured in the company of Eugen Leviné's bodyguard. Otto Strasser pointed out these facts and basically accused Hitler of being a communist, what was referred to as the beefsteak Nazis, brown on the outside and red on the inside. So we have clear proof that Hitler began his career as a Bolshevik, participated in the overthrow of Bavaria and the division of Germany into this north-south dialectic. Later, the beer hall putsch was conducted in collaboration with Erich Ludendorff to prevent the reestablishment of the Bavarian monarchy. And that was the justification that Hitler gave at his trial for the beer hall putsch. So all of this history is grossly misrepresented today. Erich Ludendorff went in search of what he called a German Joan of Arc to lead the German people into National Socialism, which would be both heavily socialistic, anti-monarchistic, and which would be Zionistic in the sense of driving Jewry to Palestine. So Hitler became an ardent Zionist. He was trained by Ludendorff through Captain Karl Mayr, who was a intelligence officer in the Reichswehr. He was also an ardent socialist, a fact he kept hidden until he openly joined the Socialist Party. He had Hitler put through a series of courses in which Hitler was trained on public speaking, how to rail against the Jews, and how to promote a socialist agenda. So Hitler was astroturfed. It was by no means an organic development. He was selected to be a spy to infiltrate the German Workers' Party. He was sent in by the Reichswehr under the command of retired General Ludendorff and Captain Karl Mayr. Mayr revealed all these facts in an article he published in 1940 or 41 called "I Was Hitler's Boss," which is available online. It's cited by many reputable historians.
My understanding is that Hitler was some kind of spy at first with the National Socialist Party, but that he had some sort. He went, as sometimes happens with anthropologists and whatever. He went native, and he started to take on their views, and he became himself a National Socialist. Are you saying that's not the case? Are you saying that for the whole 25 years he was involved, that he was just a communist?
Absolutely, he was a communist. He worked with Stalin to create World War II. Edvard Beneš, who was the president of Czechoslovakia, revealed in 37 and 38 that World War was coming, that it was staged in order to create a pretext for the expansion of the Soviet Union across Eastern Europe, that Hitler would precipitate this war. You then had the Ribbentrop-Molotov partition of Poland, which precipitated the World War. They knew that England had covertly set up with Poland so that if Poland was invaded by Germany and Russia, Germany would be attacked, but Russia would not. The entire series of events, including Operation Barbarossa, in which Hitler then flipped on Stalin and attacked, was all arranged so that Hitler would create a climate in which the Soviet Union could be expanded at least right up to the borders of Berlin and Czechoslovakia. And Edvard Beneš discussed this all before it happened, so we have proof of it. Hitler was referred to in the Soviet Union as the icebreaker. He was to be the icebreaker who would destroy all of Eastern Europe so that it could pose no resistance to this communist expansion from Stalin. In the early 20s, Trotsky had tried to bring the Bolshevik Revolution across to Western Europe, and he was stopped in Poland. And they knew that they would have to destroy Poland before this could happen, and they would utilize Hitler to do it. And this would also drive the Western allies to become allied with the Soviet Union in this false dialectic between Nazism and Bolshevism. And the same things are happening today.
Okay, but before we go on to the same things happening today, so why would Hitler go to this murderous war with Stalin, leading to the death of millions of his own, or thousands anyway, of his own people, if actually they're on the same side trying to achieve the same thing?
Because in the 1860s, a National Socialist Zionist named Moses Hess wrote a book called Rome and Jerusalem. And he said that the German race was militaristic and stood in the way of the Zionist movement, and that the German people would have to be annihilated in a race war between Jewry and Germany. And the Zionists said that, including Theodor Herzl, who became the supposed founder of political Zionism, but it was actually Moses Hess, and before him, Mordecai Manuel Noah in America. They knew that the German people would have to be destroyed as the Edomites because they posed the greatest power to the establishment of a global communist Bolshevik regime, and that the best way to do that was to involve them in a war where they would be pitted against the Western Allies and against the Soviet Union, and this would force the Western Allies to sponsor the Soviet Union, as ultimately happened at Yalta.
Okay, and so what influence?
And Hitler gave, pardon me for interrupting, but it's important to note that at the end of the war, Hitler gave the Nero order calling for the complete destruction, self-destruction of Germany. Goebbels, at the end of the war, mocked the Germans for joining with the Nazis and said that their throats would be cut, and he delighted in that. So their goal was to destroy the German people, absolutely, yes.